Okay, let's unpack this. We've been tracking AI, making inroads into design, copywriting for years now. But Google just unveiled something. Well, something that feels like it fundamentally changes the starting line,
Yeah.
especially for small businesses, marketing teams.
Oh, they absolutely have. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing a deep dive today into exactly that. Google's experimental AI tool, Pomelli. And this isn't just a side project. It's a serious collaboration between Google Labs and DeepMind.
DeepMind involved, okay.
Yeah.
That signals something significant.
Right. And the promise is huge. They're talking about taking the whole process of creating professional brand campaigns and compressing the time needed from like days down to, and this is the kicker, minutes.
Okay, hold on. That sounds almost too good to be true. So our mission here really is to dissect how Pomelli pulls this off, this speed. We need to understand this core capability, what we're calling brand cloning, right? Which it apparently does just by looking at a website URL. That's it.
That's the claim. And then, yeah, we need to figure out what this means. What is this powerful entry signal for the marketing automation space? It's already so competitive.
Definitely.
And Pomelli, it's important to note, it isn't just another feature tacked on to, say, Google Ads or something. It feels like Google stepping directly into that marketing automation arena, but doing it with a completely end-to-end automated system.
End-to-end, meaning more than just scheduling posts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Historically, automation in marketing meant, scheduling social media, maybe optimizing ad bids, stuff like that. Pomelli is aimed squarely at generating the strategy, the design, and the execution. All of it. And the foundation for all that. Identifying and replicating your existing brand identity automatically.
Okay, that replication bit, that's the key, isn't it? That brings us right to the tech breakthrough here. How does it actually do that? Pomelli is designed to instantly transform how businesses create content, but the how is fascinating.
It is. They call the core tech the business DNA engine. And this is where you really see the DeepMind sophistication shine through. Think about previous tools. Most of them needed a lot of manual setup, right? You had to upload your style guides, maybe a whole library of proof photos, your exact brand colors.
Oh, yeah. The whole brand kit upload process takes ages.
Exactly. Pomelli aims to just eliminate that whole initial bottleneck.
Okay, so walk me through this. Let's say I'm running a small business. I have a decent website, looks consistent, but I've never sat down and written a 50-page brand manual. How does Pomelli possibly capture my brand identity?
Right. It doesn't need the manual. That's the point. The business DNA engine uses, deep learning algorithms, sophisticated ones. It analyzes your existing online presence. It scans the text on your site, the images, the overall layout, the structure.
It's looking deeper than just like the main color in the header.
Much deeper. It's looking at visual hierarchy, for instance. Let's say your main call to action buttons always use a specific shade of green. Pomelli doesn't just log green. It pulls the precise HEX code. But even more than that, it analyzes the tone.
The tone, how does it gauge that?
By analyzing the copy. If your website text is consistently funny, uses short, punchy sentences. The DNA profile might tag your brand as, say, witty and direct. Or if your language is more formal, maybe academic, using longer sentences, complex clauses, that gets profiled too. It becomes part of the brand's DNA.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So it's not just grabbing assets, it's analyzing the style of communication, the subtle stuff. It's basically reverse engineering the personality you're already projecting online.
You got it, exactly. And the output of that whole scan, it's a holistic brand profile. It mirrors your specific color palette, your fonts, the style of your imagery, or the minimalist photos or bold graphics, and that overall tone we talked about. It builds this complete, ready-to-use identity profile all happening in the background.
Okay, let's talk efficiency then, this effortless brand cloning. If you've ever worked in marketing, especially in a small team, the hours, days sometimes just spent gathering assets, aligning things, making sure everyone has the right logo version.
It's a massive time sink, a huge hidden cost, especially for smaller teams or startups. And the sources we looked at confirm Pomelli targets this pain point directly. Because that DNA engine handles the identity capture, the user doesn't need to manually upload stuff. No brand assets, no style guides, none of those massive design folders. All that prep work, it's just gone.
I can personally attest to spending ridiculous amounts of time hunting for the exact approved version of a client's logo.
Sure.
Or confirming the precise Pantone color for a quick social media graphic. This sounds like it bypasses all that friction, letting the team focus on the actual message, the strategy.
Precisely. The core idea is that brand governance is baked in from the very start. That deep learning algorithm doesn't just capture the brand, it automatically replicates that unique communication style across every single thing it generates. Doesn't matter if it's a tiny banner ad or a complex web visual. Consistency, which usually needs constant human oversight, is now automated.
Okay, but here's a tricky one. What if my website isn't perfectly consistent? Maybe my About Us page sounds really formal, but my blog posts or product descriptions are super informal and chatty. Does the business DNA engine just average it all out? Or does it get confused? Or does it somehow understand the nuances?
That's a really good question. And based on what we're seeing, Pomelli seems pretty smart about this. It appears to prioritize based on the context of where you intend to use the generated content. So if you tell it, I need assets for a professional LinkedIn campaign, it'll likely lean into the more formal tone found on your site. But if you say, generate some fun Instagram stories, it'll probably weight that breezy, informal content more heavily.
Ah, so it recognizes internal variation and uses it contextually. Seems like it. It uses that variation to make sure the final assets fit the platform and the audience, but still feel recognizably like your brand. It doesn't just flatten everything out.
Okay, this is where it gets really practical, right? Turning that clone DNA into actual campaign stuff. Deliverables. Because for a lot of startups, maybe even established small businesses, the biggest hurdle isn't always making the graphic look okay. It's the ideas, the creative block, the sheer lack of time to brainstorm. You need fresh campaign angles, but maybe you can't afford a big agency retainer.
That's exactly the pain point Pomelli seems laser-focused on solving next. Once that business DNA profile is locked in, the tool immediately starts tackling the creative side. Instead of you staring at a blank page, wondering what to do, the user can just click a button. And Pomelli spits out multiple campaign ideas, different creative approaches, and crucially, they're already tailored to the brand profile it just built. So it's not just a design generator, it's acting like an initial strategy partner too. Let's take an example. Say I run a small online boutique selling handmade ceramics. My website vibe, my business DNA is very minimalist, earthy, high-end, and I need a campaign for, I don't know, transitioning into autumn. Can I guide Pomelli specifically towards that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the AI might suggest some strategic ideas on its own based on your DNA, maybe something like Cozy Autumn Collection launch.
Mm-hmm.
But you, the user, keep control. You can type in custom prompts. You could say, create a campaign focused on the tactile quality of the ceramics for autumn nesting, using warm, low-light imagery.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you refine things immediately, experiment with new angles that maybe aren't even explicitly on your website yet. It's meant to be iterative, a partnership.
Okay, let's walk through the actual clicks then. For that boutique owner listening right now, if I decide, okay, I'll give Pomelli a try, what's the step-by-step, the practical flow?
Right. Step one is brand profiling. You literally just input your website link.
Yeah.
That's it. Pomelli scans it, does its magic, creates that comprehensive business DNA, the tone, colors, fonts, visual style, zero manual setup.
Okay, instant profile. Done. What's step two?
Step two, idea generation. Based on that profile it just created, the tool suggests campaign concepts. Might even give you suggested target audiences or key messages. You can pick one of his ideas, or you can feed it your own concept, like our autumn nesting campaign idea.
Got it. Choose or refine the strategy. And then the final step, making the actual stuff.
Step three, asset creation. This is where Pomelli generates the whole suite of ready-to-use marketing assets. Based on the strategy you picked, it cranks out social media posts already thinking about vertical video versus square images, banner ads, web graphics, maybe email components, and this is important. It claims every file is already optimized for different platforms, so less manual resizing later. Ready to publish, essentially.
That optimization detail is key. Manual resizing is another one of those hidden time killers. But here's where I often find friction with these kinds of AI or template systems. It's the last 10%, the tiny tweak. What if the AI gets my campaign asset, say, 95% right, but the headline just feels a bit off, a bit too aggressive for my brand? I don't want to have to export it and then fiddle around in Photoshop or Canva.
Yeah, that's a classic problem, and it seems Google anticipated that. They've put a lot of focus on the user interface for editing. Pomelli apparently features a real-time editing interface that doesn't require you to be a design pro or no code. You tweak the output using, well, plain language prompts. Now,
Plain language prompts? Tell me more. How does it work in practice?
Yeah.
I want to change that headline.
so instead of selecting the text box, finding the font menu, adjusting the size manually, you could literally just type or maybe even say to the AI, make the headline sound gentler and maybe 2 words shorter. Or change the background image to use our secondary brand color, that soft gray. The AI is supposed to understand that natural language command and just execute the change. instantly while you watch.
And presumably the business DNA engine is working behind the scenes there too, right? Acting as a guardrail. So if I tell it, make the headline gentler, it makes sure that gentler still fits within the overall brand voice it established. It won't suddenly suggest something completely out of character.
That's exactly the idea. It maintains that brand governance, those guardrails, even while giving you this real-time flexible editing power, which, you have to admit, is a potentially significant competitive advantage compared to tools where you have to manually ensure brand consistency during edits. It lets you experiment quickly without breaking the brand.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into the competitive landscape, because when you talk about generating polished, optimized social posts, banner ads, the big names jump out immediately. Canva, Adobe Express, huge user bases, tons of features. How does Pomelli stack up? How is it positioning itself against those giants?
Yeah, and Google has to know it's entering a crowded field. This is where they seem to be making a really bold distinction. Look, Canva and Adobe Express are fantastic platforms. They offer incredible tools, massive template libraries, really professional results. But they still rely heavily on you, the user, for the design sense. And crucially, for making sure everything aligns with your brand. You still have to remember the HEX code for your blue. You have to pick the right font family from the dropdown. You're the brand enforcer.
Whereas Pomelli is trying to automate that enforcement and the strategy part before that.
Correct. That DeepMind AI integration isn't just about making nicer-looking graphics faster. It aims to make Pomelli an end-to-end automated governance system. That's the difference. It tries to bridge that big gap between strategy, what should we even say, design, make it look right and on brand, and execution, get it ready for the platform. For that small business owner listening, this potentially means a campaign development cycle that used to involve days of back and forth, internal reviews, designer time, might now get compressed into maybe a single afternoon session with the tool.
That's a powerful proposition. Okay, before we get too carried away with the potential, let's ground this in today. This is still experimental, right? It's not fully rolled out everywhere. What's the current status?
That's right. Important context. It is currently in public beta. You access it via Google Labs. And limitations apply right now. It only supports English language content creation.
Yeah.
And geographically, access is limited. It's available in the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand for now.
Okay. US, Canada, ASCWIS, NZ, English only, beta. Got it. And the big question for anyone thinking about budgets, pricing. Any hints from Google, or is it totally up in the air?
No official pricing announced yet, typical Google beta approach. But, considering the target market SMBs and how competitive this space is, you'd expect a pricing model that's pretty accessible, probably tiered. What's maybe more revealing right now than a price tag are the integration plans Google has mentioned. Those tell you a lot about the long-term strategy.
Integrations. Okay, tell us about those. Because if Pomelli is churning out all these perfect on-brand assets, the very next logical step is getting them out there, right? Distribution.
Exactly. And Google has confirmed plans to tightly integrate Pomelli directly into Google Workspace. Google Docs, Slides, shared files, and the really big one, integration with Google Ads.
Ooh, okay. Workspace and Google Ads. That's significant.
It really is. It potentially turns Pomelli from just a standalone design tool into part of a seamless ecosystem. Imagine, you use Pomelli to brainstorm the campaign based on your business DNA, generate the ad creatives, and then push them directly into Google Ads to set up your campaign and manage it, all without leaving the Google environment.
Wow. Yeah, that is the ultimate competitive mode, isn't it? It creates this incredibly closed loop. The entire life cycle of a campaign, from idea to creation to paid distribution and tracking, all potentially managed and optimized by Google's AI systems.
It creates a very sticky, very powerful system, especially for businesses already heavily invested in the Google ecosystem. And they're not stopping there. Future updates already confirmed include expanding language support crucial for global reach and introducing AI video analysis tools.
Video analysis, so it could potentially analyze your existing video content to understand your style, too.
That seems to be the direction. It positions Pomelli less as just a graphic design tool and more as this comprehensive AI-powered, well, almost like a virtual marketing department in a box.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. For the listener, maybe that marketing manager juggling 10 things, or the small business owner wearing all the hats. What's the bottom line here? What does Pomelli mean for them?
I think it means that level of marketing, the really polished, consistent, strategically thought out stuff, which traditionally needed either a large in-house team or a hefty agency budget. That level is potentially becoming much more democratized, accessible, This tool aims to compress that entire content production cycle, from hours or days down to minutes, while crucially maintaining professional quality and brand alignment. It could significantly reduce the need for dedicated designers or specialist copywriters just for day-to-day asset creation.
That really is the core takeaway, isn't it? Pomelli enabling high-level, consistent marketing for potentially everyone by collapsing the production timeline, removing budget and time as the major roadblocks for smaller players.
And if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture. Pomelli fits perfectly into Google's broader AI strategy, doesn't it? They're embedding this really advanced AI, leveraging DeepMind's capabilities right across the creative and productivity landscape. By connecting that analytical power with their massive ecosystem, they're offering a path, potentially a very fast, intuitive, and affordable path for businesses to create marketing content that feels authentic, authentically human even.
Which brings us to a fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling final thought for you, the listener, to mull over as this tech evolves. If Pomelli's goal is to create content that feels authentically human, and it does this by analyzing and perfectly replicating a brand's existing digital self, what does it actually mean for the future of brand storytelling when that very human touch can be essentially cloned, automated, and governed entirely by an AI? Something to think about, maybe right after you decide which website URL you want to feed it first.